Hello friends, I'm here today to share with you my December wrap-up. In the month of December, I read 17 books, which is about average for me throughout the months of 2022. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first three were read for a reading vlog, so I'm not going to go into too many details about them. The first one was Not a Hero by Sharice Sinclair. This is a small town Alaskan. The hero is he's just come to the small town with his brothers, and he has agreed to be the sheriff, the chief of police, I don't remember which. And then the heroine is on the run because she does like research, and due to one of the topics that she researched for a journalist or an author or something, she's got a hit out on her. So she's running and going by a different name, and that's how they meet. I gave this one 4 stars. Also in that blog, I read 50 Ways to Win Back Your Lover by Kelly Siskind. I'm not too sure. I have a copy of this on the way. It just shipped from Amazon today. I am so excited to get this. It's definitely one of my favorites of the year. This is a second chance after high school sweethearts were torn apart due to his dad doing some shady things with a mob family, and yeah, so rather abruptly the family has to leave, and this is when they've kind of gotten the all clear to go back to their real life. Yeah, I loved this one. It's so good. Definitely recommend. Also, another one that I highly recommend is Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. This one is kind of a forced proximity. I was going to say hate to love, but it's not even really that they hated each other. It's just that it was a really awkward situation for them to both be in. So the heroine is trying to get custody of her new baby sister, and the hero has a teenage brother that he's trying to get custody of, and because she's got a stable home and he's got stable income, they like are put together through CPS to like balance each other out, and it was very good. I again highly recommend. Next, I read Two Wrongs Make a Right by Chloe Leese. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. So this is Jamie and B, and they are kind of forced together through their friends. It's kind of a setup, or maybe it's her sisters. I don't remember if it's friends or siblings, but they were kind of set up to go out on dates, and then they decide to fake date to get back at them for messing, and then through the process of fake dating, they really fall for each other. I gave this one 4 stars. I had one major issue with it, and like afterwards I could not rate it 5 stars. So spoiler alert if you haven't read it yet. So it was her sister. B's sister is dating Jamie's roommate. Well, they have like a big dramatic breakup. Like it causes issues for like everybody. So B breaks up with Jamie, or tells him they need to take a break so that she can focus on being there for her sister. I 100% get that. I get that part. But he specifically asks her to give him a time frame to like let him know that he's not waiting for nothing, and she won't do it. And my issue comes in the fact that he apologized to her first. I could not wrap my mind around the fact that even like their friends were telling him to apologize to her. And like I was just like, he asked her like just to say that he wasn't waiting for nothing, and she wouldn't do it. She should have apologized first. I didn't like it. I couldn't rate it 5 stars after that. It was an issue for me. Next, I read An Inconvenient Duke by Anna Harrington. Ended up giving this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. So this is about Marcus and Danielle. Danielle is friends with his sister while he is away at war, and she ends up being the one to write to him and tell him that unfortunately his sister has passed away. So when Marcus gets home from war, he decides he's going to try to figure out what happened, because he just doesn't believe that his sister, I think it was like fell off of a horse and had an accident or something. So he starts spending a lot of time with Danielle, trying to see like what kind of clues he can maybe find as to what happened. And eventually he finds out that Danielle and his sister are part of this charity that help abused women or mistreated women run away from their situations. And so I really liked this one. Obviously there was a little bit of miscommunication where I forget exactly how he says it, but basically he like tells her that she needs to stop the charity because it's going to, like, if it killed his sister, it could kill her too. I forget exactly how he says, so he doesn't tell her to stop, but while she's kind of mad at him about that, he is trying to figure out a more legal way to help this woman. He is a duke, so he's got like the political power and stuff to fix it, and I really liked that even though he couldn't express to her what he was trying to do, he still did it even though she was mad at him. So yeah, I gave some 4 stars. Then I read Our Last Days in Barcelona by Chanel Cleaton. This is another installment in her Perez sisters stories. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. So it's obviously set in Barcelona. There's a 1964 storyline where Isabel is going in search of Beatrice, who was, I think her book was When We Left Cuba. I might have those backwards, or I might have that switched with a different one. But Isabel is going in search of Beatrice, and while she's there, it doesn't say his name. While she's there, she meets this guy who is also kind of a spy like Beatrice is, and ends up having feelings for him. And so before she and Beatrice can really fix their relationship, she goes back home because she is married, so she goes back to Florida. And then the dual timeline is Barcelona 1936, when the Perez sisters' mother is I think she was having complications in her marriage, and so she ran away from Cuba to Barcelona. But the Spanish Civil War, yes, the Spanish Civil War is happening, and so it's not safe for her there. But she runs into like this ex crush that she had, and yeah, so it's this one kind of brought together kind of the little comments that were made about the mother and like throughout the other books. Kind of made me understand the Perez sisters' relationship to their mother a little bit more, why their mothers did certain things. Yeah, so I really liked that. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Then I read Aphrodite and the Duke by J.J. McAvoy. I gave this 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. A lot of people won't like this because they are together and married, I would say halfway through, maybe a little over halfway through. So this is a second chance between Aphrodite and Evander. When they were teenagers, like right after Aphrodite was like brought out into society, Evander made a comment that he was going to marry her and that he was coming on this certain day to ask for her parents' permission, and then she waited by the window all day and he never showed. And then the next time she hears from him is his wedding invitation to a different woman. So Aphrodite has kind of like hid herself away from society. She's been in the country. Well, her mother is sick of it, and she summons her back to London to get married. That is her only option. She has until the end of the season to get married. And then while she is, like, I think it's like on her way back to London, she finds out that Evander's wife has passed away and that he is also going to be in London for the season to help his little sister in her debut. And so they are thrown back together by her mother, who I think was his godmother or something. I forget exactly how. I know she was friends with his mom. But yeah, I really loved this. Like I said, I gave it 5 stars. Most people are not going to like how quickly they get together in the grand scheme of the book, but I loved it. There was enough happening afterwards to keep my interest. After that, I read the Savage Pride Duet by Jill Ramsauer. So this was, I picked this up at Wanderlust. It was sold to me with the tagline, a Pride and Prejudice Mafia retelling. And that's exactly what it was. I thought it was a bit of a slow start, but I also feel that about Pride and Prejudice. I would say that there's not really much mafia in it. It's more of just mentions of like the family. And then there's a little bit of a thing at the end, but like you don't really see the graphic part. It's just described, like afterwards is described. So I would say maybe if you like Pride and Prejudice and you want to give Mafia a shot, this might be your starting point. It wasn't too graphic, it wasn't too heavy. I think it explained the Mafia terms really well, so maybe a good starter point for you. Then I read Scarred by Emily McIntyre. This is book 2 in the Never After series, I think is what it's called. This is a Scar from Lion King retelling. So it's about a princess who is betrothed to the good brother, who is just become king, and now that she's in the castle and kind of living life day to day, she finds herself really drawn to the bad brother, who is the Scar character. He does have a scar on part of his face from a fight with his brother when they were children. Yeah, I just really love this. There was the king and the scarred prince, and there was a rebellion, and the princess had her own little thing that she was, like, own little scheme that she was working, and yeah, I really liked this one. So then I read The Bombshell Effect by Carla Sorensen. This is book 1 in, I think it's called the Washington Wolves series. That might be a different one. I don't know. But this one is about a single father professional football player who ends up falling in love with the new owner of his team. The main character, I cannot think of her name. She finds out that she's inherited this football team from her late father, who was the beloved owner, and now she's having to kind of step into that role when she doesn't really know anything about running a football team. I gave this one 4 stars. I really liked the setup of it, of him being a player and her being the new owner. Oh, they were also neighbors. I forgot about that. But something about him didn't work for me in this. I don't know. I just never... Like, he didn't give me a bad vibe, but he didn't give me a good vibe either. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Next, I read the Hearts in Darkness duet by Laura Kay. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I rated it all together as a duet. Because if I had just rated the first one, it would have been even lower than that. I didn't really enjoy the first one. It's very insta-lovey. I was hoping that maybe... So the main characters meet in an elevator and the power goes out, and so they are stuck there for hours together. I was hoping that that would... Like, because they're in the dark, they can't really see each other, so they're just talking. I was hoping that that would kind of help me believe the insta-love a little more, but it just didn't. I was not a fan. And then in the second book, I liked it a lot better. The main male character has a lot of PTSD issues. He suffers through depression, and the second one is really about them. It's about him trying to understand that doesn't, how do I say this? Like, it doesn't make him any less of a person just because he has those struggles, and it's about her trying to find the best way to be there for him during that when he is trying to push her away. Next up was Wild Rain by Beverly Jenkins. This is book 2 in the Women Who Dare series, and I ended up giving this one 4 stars. This one is about Spring and Garrett. Garrett comes out west from the city to he's interviewing Spring's brother, who is a black doctor in a majority white area. So this is post-Civil War. And on the way there's a big snowstorm, and so he ends up at Spring's cabin. I think he fell off of his horse or something, so she like rescues him and takes care of him until her brother can get there. And like I said, I gave this one 4 stars. The hero kept talking about how being out west and being away from the city had changed him, and I just never really felt like, I don't know why I'm waving this around, I just never really felt like it did. Like, he never actually showed it, he just kept saying it. So yeah, he was my issue in this one. I loved Spring. She was a very strong heroine. If you're looking for that, definitely pick this one up. And then finally, the last 3, I was trying to hit a Goodreads goal that I just gave up on after. First novella I read was Nerdgasm by Kimberly Reese. I gave this one 3 stars. It was alright. It was a lot of focus on the male character. I think he was a TA and she was a student. It was just a lot of focus on him. And I think there was some type of author's note that said it was written for some type of like nerdy hero anthology or something. And so like I get why that was. But if you're going to release it as a standalone and you added stuff to it, why could you not add that female character a personality other than she likes hot nerds? Then I thought I would try a historical novella, and I read Meet Me at the Anvil by Kate Pryor. I gave this one 3 stars. There's too much antics for me. It's a runaway bride situation. There's a fainting goat. The fiance's, like, I don't even think it was his brother. I think it was just like a family friend. Like, it runs after her, and instead of stopping her, like, goes with her because he's always loved her and didn't want her to marry the other guy. And I was just like, okay. And finally, the last book was Timeless by Devney Perry. I gave this one 3 stars too. This is a new novella in her Lark Cove series, but it's not really though. I don't know if it's the start to a new series or what, but this is about the hero in book 1 of Lark Cove. He had one sister that came, I don't remember which book it was, but he had one sister that came in one of the other books to Lark Cove and fell in love. But this one, like, she wasn't in Lark Cove, she was in New York City, but it was his sister. And I never really, like, the whole time I was reading, I was kind of just like, what's the point of this? Why are we, like, is this the start to a new series? What is the point? I didn't, yeah, both characters were, like, they were fine. She was a workaholic. He was, I'm so different from all the other guys that she's dated. Yeah, I didn't get this one either. So those are the books that I read in the month of December. What did you read? Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!